Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the November 2020 session of Student Council. Hope everyone's okay in these unprecedented times, although I know that the word unprecedented is used an unprecedented amount of times as well. Anyway, just before we start as well, just to remind you of what's on the screen at the moment about using Microsoft Teams and doing Student Council in this really abnormal and sort of complicated way. But make sure you have your microphone and camera off unless you are speaking. Only use the chat for questions or clarifications. Please use the raise hand function to indicate when you want to speak. Allow time between points for people to speak. And the meeting is being recorded currently, so make sure that you're respectful and follow all the normal policies that we adhere to when we're in the council chamber as well. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions along the way, and please bear with us as we're going to inevitably have quite a lot of technical problems as well as we get used to this new system with such a large group of people as well on one call. So yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping. We've only got one apology. That's Michelle Chong, so we don't think we need to actually say that. We thought it was more, but just the one that's come through. There probably has been more as well. So I think we can just go straight to the minutes unless anyone has any questions or anything so far. Nope. Okay. So one other thing to note as well is that we hope that you guys have the papers that we've emailed out a number of times, the latest ones being emailed out yesterday morning. We hope you have them up on your screen as well in a different tab, just because it's easier to refer to instead of me sharing my screen all the time as well. Was that someone's hand up or did they take it away? Take it away. Yeah. So I think we can move to approval of last minutes. Let me see if I can get those up there. Yeah, and also just to explain how voting will work, there'll be, each time we go for a vote, there'll be a link posted in the chat bar. If you click on there, it might ask you to log in again. If you do have to log in, make sure you log in using your uni account, and voting will be done through that. For each time that we have to vote, there'll be a different link that gets popped up in the chat section. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cecilia. I think that's right as well. But yeah, so hopefully everyone's had time to look through the minutes of the last meeting as well. And I think we can just go to a vote for approving those minutes, unless anyone has any questions about them. The voting form has been popped in the chat now, so you just click there and we can vote to approve these minutes. It's yes, no, or abstain. Any issues, just let us know. Yeah, just to clarify there, I meant for, against, or abstentions for approving of the minutes. Looks like there's a few more votes to come in. And again, just waiting on the results of that vote to come in. Oh, and people who are up for co-option currently, because the co-options haven't been approved yet, you can't vote yet today. But good to have you with us anyway. And yeah, thanks to Cecilia for support there of not muting me. I mean, we'll be here for a lot longer anyway, if we keep doing that. Okay, I'm not sure how long we're going for here. We are just waiting for that motion to be told whether that motion's passed or not the motion. Yeah, so just to clarify again, people who are up for co-option tonight. 2 seconds. If this is anything, this is an application for a coronavirus vaccine as fast as possible to avoid as many. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that the approval of the minutes has passed there. The minutes have been approved. Thank you, Ellie. And then we can move on to the approval of future council dates as well. Just bear with us as we try and solve these technical problems. Okay, so if it's helpful for me to share my screen, I can do that when appropriate, or if it's just easier, just let me know for you guys to check the papers yourselves. But just after the minutes of the last meeting way back in April are the proposed dates for 2020-21 council. So anyone got any issues with these? Now's your time to raise them. Just try and share my screen again. So the dates there for this year should be up on your screen. If you just raise your hand if you've got any problems with them, obviously. Oh, got a raised hand from Tarkeen somewhere. Tarkeen, if you want to unmute yourself, you can speak. Tarkeen? No. Okay, so if no one's got any issues from that, we'll move to a vote. Ellie for. Oh, okay, his mic's not working. Okay, well, if you just want to know what the issue is in the chat, I guess that's fine as well.
I think his question was, are the votes anonymous?
Oh, yeah, okay, are the votes anonymous? They're not anonymous for accountability reasons as well. ALSA staff can see who voted for what, especially at the moment, because we've got many of the co-option people in here, so it makes it easier for the minutes as well to get rid of the people who have voted by accident and count them. And we should make clear that all votes are provisional at the moment as well, just because we have people who are not yet approved to join council as well. Should we have the breakdown of the votes? Andre, I believe Ellie put up the breakdown of the votes as well on the screen when that first one came in. We can maybe pop a message of them in the chat as well as it happens, just if that helps people. I think Ellie's going to pop it up again. Okay, that's the approval of dates there. And approval of minutes as well. Thanks, Ellie. So okay, so for people who can't see then the screen, if you're having problems there, the approval of minutes, the votes for were 58, 0 against, and 6 abstentions. And if Ellie can show me the results for the approval of dates, thank you. And the dates there, 49 for, 0 against, and 3 abstentions there as well. So the dates are approved as well. Any other issues anyone wants to raise at this stage regarding voting before we do lots more votes? Nope. Okay, and then we move on to co-options. I believe so first of all, item 5A on the agenda for vice chair of the council. There's one person that's been co-opted to be vice chair. I think we discussed earlier that we were, if that person, who I hope is here, David, if you want to unmute yourself and maybe tell us a bit about yourself and why you want to be co-opted into this position, and then we can vote on that.
I'm David. I am a second-year student. I was in council last year. I was on the education committee as the convener for medical sciences. And this year I've decided I've decided to be this, if you want me to be co-opted into as your vice chair for student council. Practically, I just want to do something different as well in council, and I think that I have the skills required to be a vice chair for council as well, in terms of being unbiased, just being there as an extra support mechanism as well, and just making sure that council is fair and everyone has the chance to speak and raise their opinions. So yeah, so I think that's mainly it.
Brilliant, thank you. There was no one else to be co-opted for vice council chair unless anyone has any. I think co-options, there is no rule about whether they can be brought up at the meeting now or beforehand. So if anyone else wants to be co-opted to vice chair, now would be the time to raise your hand. No one appear. Oh, that's one raised hand. Was that a raised hand there? Can that person raise their hand again? Because it's disappeared off my screen. Because there's so many people in the meeting.
It was a mistake.
Oh, it was a mistake. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we can then we're going to do. We're going to do the vote for vice chair of council at the same time as committee co-options. So we've had a number of co-options for various committees. Cecilia?
Hi, Cecilia, student president. Sorry to be a pain, but can we maybe vote on the vice chair separate from the committee co-options? Because the committee co-options have already gone through committees to be vetted, whereas a vice chair position is something that should be decided by everyone.
Yeah. No, we can do that. I think I'll wait for Ellie then to make another voting form, if she heard that, and perhaps whilst we wait for that, we can go on to committee. Yeah. Okay, so you'll see again in the papers that there is a list of. Okay, it is two separate votes in one form for it anyway. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so we've already heard from David, who wants to be co-opted into the position of vice chair of council. You'll see in the papers, though, after the list of proposed meeting dates for council, there is a list of the co-options that we received previous to this weekend. The whole list on there. We don't require everyone to speak. If anyone does want to speak, that's Cecilia. Is your hand raised, or do you just not take it down?
Yes, it's raised.
Sorry. Yeah.
So Cecilia, Welbeck, Senior President, before this meeting, we spoke about adding Nigel Isherwood onto the Sport Union Committee as welfare convener. Just want to make sure that he gets formally included in this vote, so he can become a full member of the committee going after this.
Yeah, obviously I can't edit the documents now because it's been sent out to everyone. But yeah, if we're all happy there, just to take him as being part of the list as well, that's fine. But again, I can share my screen if that helps anyone. And if anyone wants to speak, that's also okay. Anyone that's up for co-option. But like I said, we don't require that because they've already been vetted by their committees. Doesn't look like anyone. Perfect. Okay, so I think we can move to a vote then on that one. So Ellie's going to post the link in the chat again. There's two separate votes. The one for the vice chair of council, and then the other one for everyone else that's already been vetted by committees. And I can share the list of people as well while you vote. Any questions, just let us know. And yeah, just to clarify, they're both on the same link. Just waiting for those votes to come in there as well. And oh, someone's got a hand up. Anthony?
Yeah, I was just wondering, if we've accidentally voted a certain way and then we change our minds on the way we wanted to vote, how can we change that?
I'd have to refer. I'm not quite sure how that aspect of the voting system works. I don't know if Scott and Ellie could ping me a message just to clarify that. Someone will. Or not. Yeah, so it does look like that you're only allowed one response to each vote as far as we're aware. But I think we're checking that at the moment, just because this is the first time we've used this system. So thank you for bearing with us. I mean, yeah, so if you can say which way, we can maybe note it in the final numbers if you want to message either myself privately or maybe email the ALSA reps email account at alsareps@abtn.ac.uk, and perhaps they can get that sorted for you as well.
Okay, thanks. Because usually, in student council, you can press a button and then, if you press the wrong one, you can just press the other one. Whereas here, once you've clicked on the link, then it's done. But yeah, I'll do that. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Anthony. It's just the new system as well. But yeah, okay. Have you got the results for that one, Ellie? Okay, so for vice chair there, 57 for, 1 against, and 14 abstentions. So David is co-opted into that position. And for the committee co-options, there's 58 for, 3 against, and 11 abstentions. And so all those people are co-opted to council as well. And then we can move swiftly on to policy updates as well. I believe I just go straight to the Sabbatical. So, Cecilia, have you got any policy updates?
Yeah, so still most of my policies are still completed from last year. Got a few of them expiring or lapsing. So I would recommend renewing the lapsing policy called Safe Name Changes for Trans Students. That's one that I would recommend that we renew. We have introduced policy. Universities have pretty comprehensive safe name change policy for trans students, but I would make sure that we do keep this as a current policy of ours. Another policy that I would recommend that we prevent from lapsing and renew is the demilitarized campus policy. This is a policy that's actually put under the VP for Sport, but as I'm acting at the moment, I'm pushing this forward. And this is due to the fact that there's been many attempts in the past 3 years for this policy to be cancelled. It's failed each time. So I think this shows a pretty strong desire for this to be an active policy of ours.
Okay, thank you. Anyone got any questions for Cecilia? Nope. Okay. Andre, have you got any policy updates?
Yeah, so I got two policies that are currently lapsing. So the establishment of discipline reps and school council. So we'll be looking at how to implement it in a different way. So I would not be looking to renew that proposal, because we'll just need to figure out another way to do it, because we didn't really find a way how to implement that one in particular. Then the other one that is lapsing is the suspension of studies and leave of absence policy. So I would also recommend for that one to lapse, because I believe to the extent as we're going to get for now, we have achieved everything that we could with that policy. So those would be my two recommendations. And for the other policies, I'm still gathering more information about the ethics committee reform, because it was unclear at what stage it was left previously. So I need to build up on some of that work to finish it off, hopefully this year. And I've had some discussion with the university about some of the penalization over strikes. So we'll need to continue some of that work, and we'll see whether we can come to any conclusion. But nothing as of yet.
Okay, thank you. Anyone got any questions for Andre at this stage? Nope. Okay, and Radine, if you're there as well, any policy updates?
Yep. Oh. Hi, everyone. Dean, Vice President for Communities. I have two policies that are lapsing that I would like to see renewed, which is the water fountains and microwaves policy and the environmental policy, largely because of the fact that we have just signed up for the NUS Green Impact Award for the next 2 years. And I think these are still relevant to be a part of ALTA. And so, yeah, other than that, nothing else to update.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Radine? Nope. Okay. I don't think Louise or Isla are here. Oh no, Louise is, sorry.
Yes, I am.
Sorry.
No worries.
I couldn't see you scrolling down the list. Any policy updates?
Currently no policy update. The two policies that I have assigned to me are Sacred Laundry, which is about reducing prices of laundry in university accommodation, and the other one is about postgraduate welfare. Some work has been done, but I need to catch up on what has been done by the previous sabbatical officers, and a policy that was passed at the previous student council, but unfortunately it was not ratified by the trustee board. I'm working on it. It was regarding the rise in sexual assault in universities, and finding ways to reduce that and increase how people improve how people feel in terms of like safety. So this is a policy which has not been passed yet, but I'm working on amending it with the proposers and seconders, and hopefully it will be brought back soon for notification.
Okay, thank you. And I was right in saying that Isla's not here as well. But has anyone any questions for Louise? Nope. And are any of the four of you speaking on behalf of Isla, or are we just two? Cecilia?
Cecilia, Mr. President, I've already spoken for Isla when I spoke about the demilitarized campus. That's what I meant when I say I am acting VP for sport at the moment until Isla returns.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So unless anyone has any points to make there, we can move to a vote on that one. But just before we vote, it's probably best to make clear that this would, the policies which the SABs are suggesting continue to be in place for another full policy period here. And the voting link's just been put in the chat there as well. Daniel?
Hi there. I was under the impression that this wasn't to be the vote that would be taken to renew these policies right now, because it seems inappropriate, firstly, to vote on them all at the same time, considering that they're all quite different. And also, I was under the impression that the SABs recommended the renewal or allowing them to lapse, and then they're brought back at a future council to be put back into place if a member of the council wants to do that. I thought that was the case.
Okay, I think Cecilia's got a hand up as well, so perhaps she can clarify there, and then we can go to Redeem.
Andre had his hand up first.
Oh, sorry, Andre.
It was my understanding that if we wanted to renew these, we would need to put it with the papers, which didn't happen. So any of the councillors haven't actually seen this prior to this. So I would be very voting on it without giving them a 10-day notice to review these documents first.
Okay. Anyone else want to come in on that? Someone's a hand up. We can just waiting on a device there as well. Cecilia, if you want to speak.
Since Student President, Andre basically said what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Most people probably don't know the policies. Policies are all available on the LSA web page, so I recommend familiarizing with them because that's how you hold the sabbatical officers to account.
Yeah.
These are used our recommendations. If you go to the link, you don't vote for all as a blanket. You can vote individually, but Andre, please advise me. Could I call a procedural motion to suggest that this is deferred to the next council? I think Andre, you might, or Anthony. Sorry, Matthew.
If I could say, I would say it's a given, but
Yeah.
I don't think we need to vote on it.
Yeah, if you guys are happy, these can be presented at the next council, and then obviously that could be your 10 days notice with the papers there as well. Any of the policies you want to be renewed, and we can have the vote at the next council. If all of you are happy with that. We've got a load of hands up, so I don't know, Daniel, you had another point to make, and then I can't see what order people have put their hands up in. I only have a list that's alphabetical. So apologies if I don't come to you in order. But Daniel, I'll come to you first, and then Javier.
If I might suggest that we vote on the understanding that we vote to approve what the SABs have said, and as in that we understand their recommendations, and then the actual policy can be brought back at a later council to deal with it then. I think that might be most appropriate.
Yeah, that was my understanding of what was happening as well. I probably just got a bit confused as well. And yeah, apologies for bad pronunciation of names there, but we'll come to you next as well. And like I say, I've only got an alphabetical list here, so I'm scrolling through to find out who people are. But Javier.
Yeah. I do believe that it would be.
Sorry, you could state your name and.
Yes, sorry. My name is Javier Gonzalez. I am the Education Officer Vice Chair.
Thank you.
I do believe that it would be a good idea for people who haven't familiarized themselves with the policies to first read them, and then maybe in the next council meeting we can vote for or against them.
Okay. Brilliant, thank you. Anyone else want to speak? I saw another hand go up, but it's disappeared again. Nope. Okay, so we have to vote on we have to vote on the procedural motion to have an understanding, as we've just discussed there. So I think Ellie put the vote up in the chat already, so perhaps we can do that now and then take this forward to the next student council meeting, as everyone seems to be pretty happy about that, unless anyone has any objections to that. No one appears to have any objections. Okay, so that's the link there for the procedural motion. It's in the chat, and you can go vote now. Thanks. Okay, so we're voting on the procedural motion. Give you another minute, maybe. Okay, so that procedural motion passes there with 43 for, 3 against, and 19 abstentions. So that passes as well. Okay, so we can move on now to item 7 on the agenda, the Student Partnership Agreement update, and that's Cecilia.
Cecilia, student president. So this is the partnership between the university and USA on set priorities that we work on year after year. So this one has been included for information that people want to read. If anyone's got any comments about it, please put your hand up and let us know. It has not yet been signed by myself and the principal, but I know that that's something that they want to do ASAP. So any thoughts that people have on this, that would be great. I believe it's been mentioned in a few of our work reports, but essentially it's 5 different areas of priorities that have different sabbatical leads on them and that we work with the university on. So for example, that work on sustainability. I work on things like living and employability, Louise on accessibility, inclusivity, and so on and so forth. Any questions?
We've got a hand from someone. Daniel?
Hi, Daniel O'Connor, Society's Union Chair. I was just looking for, like, I mean, I've read through it and everything, but I was just looking for a bit more detail on what this actually is. I mean, what exactly, I mean, I understand what it is and what we're trying to do, and I like the goals of it, obviously, but does this empower anybody to do any specific things, or is this just sort of an agreement? Like, does this give any particular powers to anybody else or anything like that?
Cecilia, student president, I'm not quite sure what you mean by powers. It's a commitment made by AUSA and by the university. So these are areas that we're going to be dedicating time and we're going to be working together to accomplish these things. So like I said, I don't quite know what you mean by power, but it does mean is that university will set aside time to work on these. Once it's been signed and approved by everyone, nobody can come back, you know, in 2 days and say like, no, this is not a priority of ours, because we've agreed that these different areas, these priorities are what we will prioritize this year to work on and accomplish. And it has been revised to take in consideration a COVID situation and make sure that people are supported in a COVID world that we're living in right now. Does that answer your question, Daniel?
If I can carry on, Matthew.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. What I meant was that does this give, you know, are we voting on any specific things, like does this mandate the SABs to do anything, or is there any sort of requirement for the SABs to act on specific things, or is this just more of a kind of a commitment than anything else? Like, does this give the SABs power to make any like, can they unilaterally make any decisions or anything like that might otherwise have gone to student council or anything along those lines?
So this is not for approval, it's for information and a chance for people to tell us what you think about it. So maybe that should have been more clear when the papers went out, is that this is not for approval. Is it a chance for council members to say, like, you know what, this priority seems kind of wacky, why are we doing that? That seems like a waste of time. And then we can go back to university, like, you know what, this is not priority that we want to be working on. Or if we feel that something important has been left out, it means that we can go back, and before it gets finalized and signed by myself and the principal, we can keep that debate or dialogue open, on a negotiation open on the matters. everything that's on it are things that we probably would be working on anyways. Obviously, it's easier to do it with the university's agreement on it. I don't quite see how any of this would take power or decision power away from council. Yes, I hope that answers it.
Just to clarify, Cecilia, someone just messaged me. Will this come up in council again for approval before you sign it?
No.
No. Yeah.
But we will do regular updates going forward to make sure that we are keeping to our commitments, but it's not going to be massive reports like with the work reports.
Bro, okay, any more questions? Andre?
I would just note that the original SPA passed at the University Senate. So the University Senate is the body responsible for the SPA. It's not the Student Council. So any changes would have to be done through Senate, which is a university body, not ours.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions on the student partnership agreement update? Nope. Okay. So we can move to a vote on this one, but we're not voting actually on it. Is that right? No vote. Perfect. Yeah, just wanted to double check there. So we can move on then to the Sabbatical Officer Accountability Session, item 8 on the agenda, and we'll go back to Cecilia again for her work report.
Cecilia, student president. My work report, yes, everyone should have had the opportunity to read it. So questions, I'll be open for questions. Just wanted to really quickly add to it. So the Carbolista training has now been organized and is starting next week. We have almost 50 people signed up. So if there's anyone still keen, like you can get in touch with me ASAP and we can get you added to a group. But once it's started, you won't be able to join. About the diversity calendar, it did slip off the table a bit for me and Rad, so we're a bit behind on that, but it's still got a tentative launch date in January, and we're hoping to have a version ready to be viewed end of this month, so we can bring it to the Equity Forum and get their opinions on it before we show it to council. I've also been sharing the sport committee, so if you got any questions about the sport committee or questions about sport in general, I'll try to do my best to answer those as I'm still acting for the sport VP together with the rest of the sub team. And also there's a typo in my work report in which I wrote Aberdeen Student Village, which is meant to be Aberdeen Sport Village. Oops. Any questions?
Doesn't look like it. Nope. Okay, so if you're happy with that, we can move on to Andre, your work report.
Yeah, so my work has been largely around the implementation of blended learning. So I started doing that over the summer, and I've had to review with the university a lot of the policies that were in place so that they're applicable to our COVID situation. So we've made some adjustments to everything, particularly adjustments around the absence monitoring. So we made it easier to be reinstated on courses, and we made it easier for people to self-certify if they were affected by COVID. So there was a lot of work going around with that. There was plenty of other work regarding the election. So I've did some advertisement with the schools, which worked really well overall. And I've been building a relationship with all of the schools to sort of address any short-term issues that are rising up, as well as long-term. So there's quite a lot in my work report, and I try to make it as short as I can, but I'm afraid it's still long. But if there is any particular part of it that you would want to have a question about, then please raise it now, or you can always message me at any point.
So yeah, any questions on Andre's work report? Anyone at all? Nope. Okay, thanks, Andre.
And if anybody has any feedback around their education that they would like to share, you can always send me a message, or you can come to the education committee meetings if you'd like. Thanks.
Bro, thank you. And then we've got Radine. Your work report, please.
Yep, so Radine, Vice President for Communities. So as I've highlighted in my work report, some of the key things I've been working on have been the listening sessions with the university in response to the ongoing Black Lives Matter movement, working with the University for Black History Month, which has been an interesting experience. We've also signed up to the NUS Green Impact program, as I mentioned earlier, for an additional 2 years. And we are also currently working with the university to implement a project called the Inclusive Events Partnership, which is currently pending, like funding is currently pending, but hopefully that should help in terms of future events regarding particular commemorative days for minority students, including Disability History Month, LGBT History Month, Pride Month, etc. And I'm also working on engaging students in terms of sustainability and energy. And one of the initiatives we're looking at is a Road to Net Zero campaign / eChampions campaign. So yeah, again, my work report is quite long, but if you have any questions about it or just want me to go into a bit more detail about specific things, I can do that. And also one more thing that I did mention specifically in my work report is that we had a meeting with Carl Leidecker and Heather Crabb in regards to the fossil-free campaign. And I'd like to refer to Bruce, who's the fossil-free coordinator, to speak a bit more about that part of my work report, if possible.
Okay, cheers, thank you. Any questions? Rosie?
Rosie Benny, Gaudi representative. I just had a couple of questions. You characterized the uni's attitude to like Black History Month, I think it was, as interesting. I was wondering if you could go into more detail on that.
Sure. I mean, I think in general, so I worked quite closely with both the university and the BAME Students Forum, and I think they can also attest to the fact that I think the composition of the working group was something that I commented on, as I was one of the few Black people on that working group, and it wasn't led by Black staff members. And I think as well, like, I had a bit of back and forth with some of the university in terms of how I felt the direction of Black History Month was going, which I felt was performative at points. So yeah, that's what I meant by interesting.
Thanks. Any more questions? Is that someone with the hand up, or is it just that's Rosie anyway? Okay, thanks, Radine. And then finally, Louise, your work report, please.
I think Rosie, did you put your hand up again?
I should put it down.
Okay, I thought you put it back. So yeah, as my work report says, like the main things I've been working on is a housing campaign with the Disabled Students Forum. So like we're going to look at the university accommodations and like the process for disabled students to get accommodation, because there's a few issues on that. So we have had an initial meeting with an ASO staff, and we're going to have a meeting with university staff regarding the campaign and what can be improved. Another thing that I'm working on is a student mental health agreement. It's a project run by NUS Scotland. And as I said, it's basically working with the university to make sure that students do have a say in like the mental health strategies and actions that are being taken care of. So if you do want to be part of that, I'll be talking about it at my welfare committee. But also you can just send me an email if there's any priorities regarding like mental health that you think would be good to include in such an agreement, or any issues that you have. And the last thing that I would like to highlight is winter break. have been chatting with ASO staff, and they've been working with the university regarding the support which will be available during the winter break, since there are going to be quite a lot of services which will have like changed hours, and also like quite a lot of staff will be on holiday. So like making sure that for anyone who stays or leaves but still needs support, that they have that they know where to go. So if there's anything you think would be helpful during the winter break or things that you're worried about, just get in touch again, and I'll make sure to put that information to the relevant staff.
Brilliant, thank you, Louise. Any questions? Rosie?
Rosie Benny, Gaudi representative. You're talking a lot about mental health services, which is great, obviously. The last time I was aware, the waiting time for the counselling service was about 3 months. I was wondering if you could tell me what it is now.
I wouldn't be able to tell you, but that is definitely something that I can get back to. I think we are going to have a meeting with someone from student support next week, so I can ask that question.
Great, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rosie. Again, I want to reiterate that I can't see what order the hands come in, but Javier?
Hi, it's Javier, the Education Officer Vice Chair. I can tell you that I very recently used the counseling service, and my waiting time was merely a couple of days. It was longer because I requested it on a Friday and I couldn't get the appointment until a Monday. But had I requested it on a Thursday, I would have probably gotten an appointment by Friday.
Yeah, I will say from personal experience as well. Like that was just a few days that I had to wait until response. So, and I see quite a few other people have said this, but I can still inquire.
Yeah, there's a couple of people asking. I don't know if you've got the answer to that before we go to Elisa. Did the counselling service not move to an ad hoc individual meetings after COVID rather than the long wait? Don't know if you know the answer to that one. Everyone else is affirming it, so I guess you're. There you go. Perfect. Elisa? I don't know if you're muted, Elisa.
Yeah, sorry. Literally just wanted to say what we just cleared in the chat. So the council service changed the strategy, and now you have individual appointments rather than having several appointments in a row. And because of your waiting week, your waiting period should be around a week, if not shorter.
Brilliant, thank you, Elisa. And everyone else has put their hands down. I don't know if, apart from Radine.
Yeah, I was also going to clarify, like in terms of the individual appointments, it's meant that like so you can get appointments faster, but the counselling service can't necessarily guarantee that you'll get the same counsellor each appointment. So that was kind of I don't know a better way to put it, but the trade-off of like making the wait time shorter was that you don't necessarily have the same counsellor.
Brill. Thank you. Any other comments to be made on this matter? I'm aware that we're having a few problems with people unmuting themselves. I should be giving you a bit of a gap, so that's my fault. Sorry. No one else with their hand up? No. Okay. I didn't ignore you, Radine, as well. I just wanted to double check if what I was doing was right. But yeah, I'm happy for Bruce to speak on the fossil fuel campaign in relation to your work report. Now, if Bruce is okay to do that.
Hello, thank you. Yes, so just to give you a little bit more info on the campaign as part of Rad's remit. Rad's been sitting in on the meetings every week, as he said, and we have meetings twice a week, one research group and one main group on the campaign. As he said, we had our first meeting with Carl Decker, Vice Principal of the University, last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. And that went very well. We're heading into further talks this Thursday with Carl and with the finance manager, who I cannot remember the name of, but we'll keep you updated on how that goes for sure. If anyone has any further questions on the campaign, feel free to get in touch with myself.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, I think unless anyone's got any more questions on any of the work reports there, we can move to a vote. We're voting for them all together, and just to clarify as well, that anyone that was co-opted earlier on in the meeting, you can now vote, apart from David, because like me, we are completely impartial in every possible imaginable way, so have no opinions on anything whatsoever. But everyone else can vote as well. So Ellie, if you want to put the vote up there for the work reports, I believe we're voting on them all together. Thank you, Ellie. And that vote's open now, and the link is in the chat. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that message means that we're ready to put the vote up. No, it means that we'll be able to put the vote up soon. So we'll just give you about a minute. Oh no, it's coming now. Smooth. Brilliant. There we are. So that's the result of approving the SAB reports. 55 for, 6 against, and 8 abstentions there. So they're all approved. And then we can move on to the committee and the fora update. So we don't have to go through all of them. If any of the committee or fora want to update us on their work, you can raise your hand now. If not, we just refer to the papers and then we vote on them all together. If you do wish to speak, you have 2 minutes. Okay, so the Trans Student Forum wishes to update us. If you want to go now. Two small things. Oh, okay, we're not voting for the committees. It's just an update. Sorry, that's my mistake. But we will gladly take the update from the Trans Student Forum if they're ready. Oh, okay, so the mic's obviously not working, so I will pretend to be them. 2 small things. The Trans Day of Remembrance is on Friday, and the details are on Facebook. And I wait with a bated breath for the second small thing. I'm sure it's just as good. Any other forums or committees want to update us on their work, or should we just refer to the notes? Oh, they are the 2 small things. Oh, no, that is it. Secondly, a discussion of trans legal rights and obligations organizations have towards minority groups will happen in January, which charity workers and society and fora are welcome to come to. Thank you for that. Any other committees or fora want to update us vocally or via the chat? And I will read it out. Nope. Okay, so we don't require a vote for that. That was my mistake again, because there's just so many votes. Just love a vote. Oh, okay, so the BAME Forum roundup of Black History Month is on their Instagram, which I guess is good enough. Redeem.
Yeah, I was also just going to mention that apologies, I didn't submit work reports for my committees, but there are updates within my actual work report of the committees, and also that the stuff that the BAME Forum did prior to August 12th, as I was acting convener at the time, is also in my work report. So if you want more details on that, you can find it there.
I mean, someone does keep muting me, and I'm not sure who it is, but, you know, I don't know if that's a criticism of my first time chairing that I keep getting muted by someone, but, you know, send me an email instead, because then we can get out of this quicker. But yeah, okay, so we don't have a vote for that one. We move on to motions now, and the Hive campaign. Thomas is the proposer for that motion. I don't know if he's there somewhere. I can't see.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, brilliant. You've got two.
Right. Can people see the motion?
I will put the motion up. 2 seconds.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, it's just a protracted evening of technical difficulties in the best way possible. So 2 seconds.
Right, no worries.
Okay, sorry about that. In a fun twist, Teams does not want to cooperate this evening as well. There we go. Okay, that should be it up now.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Sorry about that.
Right, well, hi everyone. Basically, this motion aims at creating a campaign to fundraise money for students that are facing financial difficulties due to a pandemic. As some of you might know, if you compare the rate of unemployment in Aberdeen in comparison to how they used to be last year, now there are 75 less jobs available. There are hundreds and hundreds of students that are really facing huge economic difficulties. The number of students going to food banks has increased tremendously. And as students of AUSA, we've got to do something about it. So I urge you to support this motion so we can start working rapidly to enhance the other established funds and help our fellow students. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you.
And please, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, so any questions on that motion? Oh, we've got a load. So I don't know who had the hand up first. I'm going to go to Cecilia first.
Oh, Cecilia Volbeck, Student President. I was just wondering, what is the criteria for people accessing this fund, and how will it be administered?
Right, sorry. So it's a campaign that aims at enhancing the other established funds. So we wouldn't create another fund because I think that would make things more complicated.
Okay,
but
so it's just
we also want to raise awareness about the funds that exist. So I know that you guys are doing a really good job, but I feel like there are many students that are not aware that they can apply for these hardship funds.
Okay, so it's just fundraising to put more money into the existing funds then?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
No
for
worries.
that clarification.
Okay, Rosie?
Sorry, you just answered my question, so I'm good. Sorry.
Okay, good.
Short, sweet, perfect. Andre?
The fund mentioned the 525 bursary fund and international hardship. They're university funds, so they're not the funds that AUSA distributes. Is this intentional, or would you want to elaborate?
Well, it shouldn't be. I think once we set up a committee that will manage the campaign, it will be easier to distribute the money and the funds that we might be able to fundraise. So it's essential that we get people in the campaign.
Yeah, my point was more that we have both AUSA hardship fund and we have university fund. So I'm just making sure that you intentionally put the university one, because then it will be university distributing the money. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay, and Ivana, if you've got your hand up still.
Yeah, hello. I had a couple of questions that came up. I first thought it was answered, but now I'm even more confused. I'm just worried that this will become fundraiser by students who still are struggling for students that are struggling, rather than getting money from other resources. So I was wondering, where are you hoping to fundraise the money from? And also, how will we know it will actually get to all of the students that need it? Because some of the funds are aimed only on particular groups of students rather than all of them. Thank you.
Yes, that's a pretty good question. So first of all, through the campaign, we will aim at raising money within the student body, so with the students, but also with alumni. So a little bit like the plan that university has already in place. The purpose of this would be that it would be an appeal from the students, so it would probably have a bigger impact. If the university asks for money to alumni, it's relevant. But when you have the students that are struggling, asking for funds, then that's gonna probably encourage people to donate more. I thought that one good idea would be to encourage all students in the university to donate at least £1. So as far as I'm concerned, we have 15,000 students. So if we are really, really lucky and we manage to, get each student donating £2, we will get £30,000, which would be quite beneficial. But as I said before, the aim of this motion is just to set the campaign. Everything will be decided once the campaign is established and once we have a committee.
Okay, thank you. And Javier?
Hi, sorry, no, he answered my question just at the very end, so that's fine, thank you.
Sorry, and I want to encourage you to join the campaign. We need more members. So far, it's only Mustafa, Natalie, and I.
Okay. I believe Cecilia's answered the question in the chat. I don't know if Thomas, you want to speak to that as well. Torres has asked, some of the hardship funds available in the uni were for EU students only. Is this still the case?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, good.
If you're happy with Cecilia's answer, then
yes, I am.
Perfect. Any more hands up? I don't think so. I can't see. Help. Oh no, Daniel has his hand up. Sorry.
Sorry, I was literally just in the process of lowering it.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. Okay, so if that's anyone that wants to speak against this motion, please raise your hand now. No one appears to have their hands up. In that case, is everyone happy if we go to a vote? No one appears unhappy by that suggestion. So Ellie, if you want to pop the voting in the chat, that'd be great, thanks. Brilliant, there we go. So we're voting to pass the Hive campaign motion as it is written in the documents there. And again, just to reiterate, people who were co-opted earlier on in this council meeting can vote now, and your votes will be counted. Apart from Daniel, who was to the vice council chair position. Sorry, David, not Daniel. I keep calling him Daniel. David. I should probably get to know your name. But yeah, many names flying around at the moment. Leave.
Sorry, can I just ask, has this link been posted in the chat?
Yeah, Ellie posted it. It's the one that was posted at 19 minutes past 7. So I'll give you another minute or so to vote. That link is there. Unless you're having any problems seeing it, Daniel.
Sorry, it must have just been my Teams not updating. I clicked out and back in again, and it was there.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, also just to clarify as well that people keep trying to add people to this meeting. We can't have that. Obviously, only people who are elected as members of the Student Council can vote anyway, and there's no point in them being here. So if you're not a member of the Student Council, if you could just leave now and stop admitting people. These are all issues that we will hopefully iron out in time for next council. Just because this is the first time we were using this system, we didn't know how sort of the mechanisms of it worked.
Well, I suppose that's a good number.
Yep, sorry, just waiting to make sure that everyone's voted there. 2 seconds. Yeah, well. Many things happening currently. Okay, so yeah, the vote there for that one, for was 43, against 17, with 11 abstentions. That motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, next.
Oh, sorry. Before we finish, I'm gonna send you my email. So if you want to start working with me with the campaign, you could email me if that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And yeah, we move on to item 11A, the bylaw amendments. And first of all, the bylaw 5 amendment, which is Andre. Yeah, sorry, it's just my computer's being slow. Andre, if you want to speak there, and I will pop it up.
Yeah, so Andre, the Vice President for Education. So there's not substantial change to this bylaw. So basically, what I'm changing is the name of one of the committees for education to the undergraduate committee, and the other one will be postgraduate as it is right now. So there's 2 major changes. So I'm reinstating the Qatar campus convener for the undergraduate committee, and this is because I will be trying to put that person on the university senate, and unless they're a member, they cannot be part of it. So that is one of the main drivers of that change. And from the postgraduate education committee, I'm removing 2 positions, which is the position of medicine and the position of dentistry, and that is largely due to having roughly 2 students on both of the areas in the entire university. So it's not worth having a convener for such a small cohort of people. So those 2 are getting removed. There is additional change to the Societies Union, where we're also adding an additional Qatar representative on the committee. So those are the main changes in this bylaw. Everything else is staying as it is at the moment. Any questions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Cecilia, student president. Maybe it's not quite a question straightforward. I'll just thank you for clarifying what changes it was, because I struggled before this meeting to figure out what the changes had been. So I was just wondering, as a general rule, could we maybe make it that when people do bylaw amendments, they indicate what changes they've done? But thank you for clarifying what changes have been.
I'll probably need to do some other bylaw changes of the other bylaws over the time. So I'll probably for next time send a little document with a headline about what the changes are, and then possibly, if it's just a few changes, keep the track changes for the future so that it's easier to find those changes.
Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? No. And does anyone want to speak against this bylaw amendment? No. Okay. If you guys are all happy, then we can move to a vote. Just to clarify, that bylaws can be amended at Student Council by a resolution passed by 75% of the members present at the meeting, and these changes must then be ratified by the trustee board. So we're looking for 75% on this one. All need to vote here, I believe. Obviously, apart from myself and the vice chair. And yeah, Ellie's posted the voting link. So we're voting here for bylaw 5 to be amended. So everyone to vote apart from myself, the new vice chair of council, any ALSA staff, but SABs can vote. Just to clarify there. And we need 75% for it to pass. So get your calculators out.
What?
Was that a what for me, or? Okay, have we got the results of that vote, or are we still voting? Thank you, Ellie. Okay, so with 72 responses, we just have to double check that before we say whether it's passed or not. Someone might be about to inform me if that's everyone. Yeah, okay, so that's 58 votes for, 2 against, and 13 abstentions. So that bylaw amendment passes as well. Thank you for that. Right. Okay, so next we move on to Bylaw 9, and hold on a minute, we'll get that up on the screen as well for you. Two seconds, we'll just clarifying something there in the chat. Anyway, I think this is in the wrong order, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so the Bylaw 9 amendment, that's Rosie.
Rosie Benny, Gowdy representative. So this is a really simple thing. So there's lots of different student groups. As I'm sure we all know, you've got your bookends, your nightline, but there's also 3 student media groups. So that's Aberdeen Student Radio, ASR, Granite City TV, GCTV, and the Gowdy. So this creates a separate category of student media groups. This basically means that as a little cohort of groups, it sort of formalizes our bond. Historically, we've worked quite closely together, but it sort of formalizes that bit and ensures that we keep working closely together across generations of students. It also means that we can work together and share more industry contacts. The media industry is really, really hard to break into, so it means that we can get more support from ALSA as working as a little unit. Doesn't require any money or any sort of resources from ALSA. It just allows us to sort of work more as a little body. We're not going to create any kind of committees. It just creates this new category so that sort of formalize our working relationship. It's a really common sense motion that probably won't affect very many of you, but it will be really important for the student media groups, and that's why you should vote for this bylaw.
Brilliant, thank you, Rosie. Anyone got any questions for Rosie at this stage? No?
Oops.
I can't see any hands up. No. Okay. Anyone want to? Oh no, I've got one. Elisa.
Hi, Elisa Köster, Vice Chair for Environment and Ethics. Just a question. I think that actually, or like a clarification more, I think that actually it goes beyond the student council's remit to pass a motion where resources, ALSA resources on staff and finances are allocated within ALSA. Could somebody clarify if that's correct?
So I can clarify, just read the thing. So yeah, we're not asking for money. We're just saying that this should mean that, you know, we can ask for, you know, ALSA to help us do a thing. You know, we can ask for sort of admin support. We're not asking for money or anything like that. It's just about creating a new category. And should funds become available that we can apply to, it means that we can do that if we want to. The same way that, you know, student groups can apply for funding now. We're not asking for money with this.
Okay. Elisa, have you got a follow-up question next? Your hand still up, or does that answer your question?
That answers my question. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks. Harnum?
Hi, I can't see the motion because I was only co-opted today and I can't see the motion. And apparently I've just been told that it's been posted in the chat, but I can't see it. So
Okay, I'll pop it up again now.
cheers.
Sorry about that. And just remember when you are speaking, if you could just state your name and the committee you're in, it makes it easier for the minutes as well.
Arnhem Blues and Colours convener for the sports committee.
Brilliant, thank you. I don't know if you guys can see that now on the screen, hopefully. Just a myriad of technical problems. Fuck.
So Matthew's messaged him because his computer's frozen, so he asked me to just speak my bit. Really had a bit of a clarification. So student groups don't really have a pot or funding to apply to from ALSA. They can apply to the university from the Development Student Experience Fund. At the moment, societies apply funding from the Societies Union Committee, which is based off the society's union fees that society members pay. Similarly, how sports clubs apply to ALSA for funding through the Sport Committee Fund, which is made up of the sport union fee. So there's not actually any funding for the student groups to apply for because they don't pay membership fees.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure if there was a question in there. Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify. But so yeah, you're right. So we can't actually apply for any funding, but it's sort of, should there eventually be a pot of money for us to apply to, it means that we would then be able to apply for that. Like I said before, this is not about creating a pot of money or asking for any money. This is just saying that should hypothetical money be available in the hypothetical future, we would be able to apply for it. That's all. It's just about making sure that we're not cutting off any potential far distant funding opportunities. That's all, just to clarify.
Unless the chair is back with us, I think I'll just carry on with my
question. Sorry, Daniel.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can speak. Sorry.
Thank you. If this isn't about access to funding, then could I just ask what the benefit of this are in terms of it? And one thing is that it says that it must, you must not, to qualify as a media group, then you must not meet the conditions to be classified as a regular group, which all of the media groups do. So I'm not sure, like that's kind of a bit of a conflict there, but at the same time, oh, sorry, my Daniel O'Connor, Societies Union Chair. At the same time, I'm just wondering what the point of this is, if it's not to gain access to funding, because it does seem to be orientated that way, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. No, I understand that concern. So the point of this motion is basically to formalise the working relationship that the student media groups have, and it means that we can then work together to get industry access and support from ALSA that's more specialised, because all the student groups are quite different. But there's 3 student media groups who have specific needs. sort of specific needs as a little cohort, if you like, as a group of groups, we'll say. And so it allows us to kind of, you know, ask ALSA for this specialist support together, and to sort of get non-monetary resources the same way. And yeah, that's kind of the point of it, and to make sure that we're not sort of crowding out the other non-media student groups who have their own needs. You know, like the needs of the Gaudi and the needs of Bookends are very different. You know, we have very different goals, so it means that ALSA can get Bookends their support and also get the student media groups their support. The sort of stuff about money is basically to make sure that we're not cutting off any future potential avenues for funding, rather than saying, give us money. It's about saying, if you'd like to, maybe in the far distant future, you are physically able to, but we're not asking for that, to be clear. I hope that answers that question. Sorry, I realise I'm talking a lot.
No, Tarkin's asking in the chat, what about other student publications such as the Legal Perspective and Monolith Media? Will they be able to apply if they are student run and affiliated with ALSA, or is it just current publications?
So those two publications are not affiliated with ALSA, so aren't student groups in the same way. I guess if they became student groups, then they would have the potential to be a student media group. But as far as I'm aware, there's no attempt to make either of those affiliated with ALSA. And the Journal of Feline Matters, I don't think is affiliated with ALSA, as far as I know. I know the guy who the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Feline Matters is on our editorial staff, and as far as I'm aware, they are not affiliated with ALSA. The AU Science magazine is affiliated with the Uni, not ALSA, as far as I'm aware. They're different. Just to keep answering questions in the chat, we are not societies. Societies and groups are different. We don't pay, people who write for us don't pay any membership. We operate slightly differently. Sorry, I realise I'm overriding the chair and just answering all the questions. Sorry.
I'm getting questions too. So if...
yes. Yeah, sorry. I'm doing my best to keep up with this.
2 seconds.
I'll defer to the chair.
Thanks.
I hope I answered everything as fast-paced as I could. I'm sorry if I rushed through that. They were coming in alarmingly quickly.
Any more questions while I clarify something that I've been asked? 2 seconds. Okay, so the trans forum okay, so I'm getting like 3 emails and about 20 messages in 3 different ways at the moment, so bear with me. The trans forum said that the motion was edited after it was sent to the seconders. Is that a question, or is it a question framed as an argument? I guess I'm not sure. Bloody hell. And so does the trans forum want to speak on that note? No? Has anyone got that? Whoa. Cecilia, you've got your hand up. And Ellie, your emails are up.
Cecilia Holbeck, student president. I was just wondering, because the proposal was mentioning that societies operating within journalism would not apply for this, but it says under 1A1 of student media groups are defined as any group working in journalism, whether radio, television, or print journalism, which may wish to be financially supported by ALSA in order to create its content, which my understanding would be anyone interested in journalism or television or print or radio. So I would just like clarification on that, because the way I read this is anyone interested in journalism could say we're a group interested in this, so ALSA needs to finance us, which comes back to my question about the competency, because I was just wanting to check the competency of this motion, because my interpretation of reading this means that it's dictating ELSA staff and finances, which is beyond the remit of this council.
Well, we did read its competency. It did go to ELSA staff, and we didn't receive any feedback to tell us it wasn't competent. So I've had no feedback that it isn't competent, and it has. We did try and propose this in March or even earlier, and it got rejected. And like we did go through some rounds of edits to make sure it was competent. So I'm confused and a little frustrated if you're now telling me it isn't.
Cecilia, or Radin's got his hands up, so we could go to Radin instead. We'll go to Radin. Unless Radin's hand's not meant to be up. I don't know if that's a hand up or not, Radin. Any more comments, Cecilia? Do you want to come back on that, or should we go for the procedural motion?
I was just putting in the chat that feedback on this was provided. I'm sorry if that didn't make it to the proposers. I don't know why that happened, but there was feedback on this provided by staff and sabbaticals.
Okay. Radina, if you just want to then comment in the chat what it is you'd like to say, unless your mic now unmutes, and we can go to you. I don't know if your mic is working. Okay,
Is my mic working now?
It is, yeah. Brilliant.
I just wanted to say that, I think in its current form, it doesn't seem to be competent given some of the concerns that have been raised. I can understand your frustration if that wasn't communicated to you, and I would like to help you get this motion passed in a more competent form, but I don't think it can be in this current form. Namely, I think the definition of groups is something that I think needs to be revised slightly, just so that it addresses some media publications that are affiliated with us that aren't necessarily student media groups, such as AU Science Mag, which is a society. It's a society under Science Journalism Society. But I can understand your frustration.
Okay. I don't know whether we have to, since someone suggested a procedural motion, do we have to follow that? Because it was said about 5 minutes ago now.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm unclear as to whether we can go to a vote at this point. If someone from, okay, Cecilia, if you want to speak, and I'll maybe get some advice off Scott or Ellie at the same time.
Oh, it looks like Scott is messaging you to give you advice, but my understanding is we have to vote on the procedural motion to move to a vote.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The procedural motion was to move to a vote. It got seconded, so now we need to vote on it. We're moving to a vote, and if that passes, we're voting. But I just wanted to add that I like the suggestion that Radin had about working together to make it competent, because even if we pass this, I have big concerns that trustee board is not going to pass it, which rather than proposing a new motion for the next council, it'll take quite a long time for this to actually move forward, because I don't think trustee board is scheduled to meet until 2021 right now. But I could be wrong. I just don't want this to be dragged down, as the proposer mentioned, that it's already taken so long.
Okay, so we're going to vote on the procedural motion to move to a vote. I don't know if we have a vote prepared, Ellie, for the procedural motion. We do. Just to clarify, Ellie, is that the vote though for the procedural motion to go to a vote, or do we just do that vocally as we would in the chamber? Yes, it is. Okay, so that is. Yeah. Okay, so the procedural motion is to move to a vote, which is what I said initially. So at least I got that correct. That's good. And so that. Okay, so perhaps we can't do a procedural motion as well. Does anyone else want to speak for this motion then? Harnum.
Yeah, I've just been reading through the motion, and from my understanding, it seems that they just want to get some.
You've muted yourself there. After some.
But
you muted yourself after you said that they want to get some, so we didn't hear that after that. And we're not hearing anything anymore, regardless. So this bit's going well. Anyone else wish to speak? Because I'm being made aware, that's okay, Harnum. I'm being made aware that there has to be 4 rounds of floor speeches before that we can have a procedural motion. Bylaw 6.8.5. Yeah. Let's just pause a second while I get some clarification on this before we go any further.
Hi, sorry, clarify. It's just, so we need to have a debate, or at least a possibility of a debate. So we need to have someone volunteering to speak for, which would normally be a proposer or seconder. But for that to be a debate, we need to have someone speaking against also. So what we need to do now is find out if there's anyone willing to speak against.
Yeah, so I've asked that a couple of times now. So is anyone willing to speak against? Since Harnum's speech wasn't actually for the motion either, we can't actually. I mean. Okay, I'm going to go to whoever UO3EG20 is, which I'm guessing isn't their real name.
No, it's Ethan.
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
you had some troubles with that at school.
No,
Okay. Yeah, if you want to, are you speaking for or against the motion, just for the record?
I'm speaking for the motion. My name's Ethan. I'm on the first direct on the Societies Committee.
Okay.
No, but I was just going to say that effectively I'm arguing for it on 2 main reasons. One, because I think it's quite important, and I think it's quite reasonable that we do clarify, where exactly these groups fit, because I think what's been clear, what the motion sort of shows, is that it's not clarified. And 2, I think, obviously the students' union, at least I'd argue, has some kind of responsibility to, obviously they're not, as was made clear, they're not asking for funding now, but should funding become available in the future, it seems perfectly reasonable that to argue that ALSA has a responsibility to fund and to support the student media outlets. Thank you.
Okay, and Elisa, are you speaking against the motion?
Yes. Alisa Costa, Environment and Ethics Committee. I just think a lot of things have already been raised in the clarification round, but I don't think the motion would pass the trustee board as it stands now. I also have doubts about the under 1C21, which leaves. Should I read that part out again, maybe for clarification?
Go for it, to buy some time.
So yeah, it will be the responsibility of a student media group to represent any different policy to ALSA, and it will be at their discretion if it's appropriate. I think it leaves a huge room for lack of accountability for any student media groups to go against ALSA policies, and since ALSA is still responsible for student media as it stands now, if any of them would get sued, ALSA would have to deal with it, not the student media groups, and I think that creates a problem.
Okay. Harnum, are you speaking for or against the motion?
For, please.
For, perfect, on you go.
Okay, so reading through this motion, what I can understand from the motion is that they want to be able to debate freely and do so without interference from ALSA, which I think is completely valid. And also from my understanding of reading through this motion, that they're not specifically asking for money at any current point. That's it. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you. Leah, we'll go to you.
I just have more of a question, to be honest, because I'm quite confused with the 4 speeches rule. I remember that going to council last year, but I can't remember it passing. If someone could just clarify on that, whether that passed or not, because otherwise we would need to vote on the procedural motion.
Yeah, that would be handy to clarify as well. Well, we've got someone checking that at the minute as well.
Can I just jump in really quickly just to speed this along and say that absolutely definitely did pass. I was the proposer there, and that definitely did pass.
Okay, so Scott is going to check. It'll take us a couple of minutes. Yeah. So. I mean, we've nearly hit 4 rounds anyway, so just inadvertently. So we're just checking to see if we have to go to, or we are able to go to a procedural motion or not. Apologies for this, just 2 seconds, we're checking. Still, Scott is typing, so. Okay, so the bylaw amendment proposed by Daniel did pass at March Council. So we do have to have 4 rounds. 4 rounds, 1 speech for and 1 against. Yeah, 4 for, 4 against before we can even go to a procedural motion to have a vote and then have said vote, which seems completely, I can't say that, can I? So by my count, we've had 3 for and 2 against. Is there anyone else against this motion, this winning speech, or have I got that count wrong? Because I wasn't counting before. We're still on the Bylaw 9 amendment. Okay, Cecilia.
Cecilia, Senior President, we need more against. I might as well just repeat most of the arguments that the process talked about being able to independently criticize the university, ELSA, current events, they're already able to do all of these things. Most of the things in this motion is already copied from the current student group motion. The difference is that now they're dictating how staff is meant to help them proactively find resources for them and make sure that they always have the funding and resources so they can operate. I also find that their criteria to be very vague, and there are many societies and just students that could come together deciding that they qualify for this. So it's probably good to remember that the Gaudi already has their own space that many of these societies don't. So I would maybe also people to think about, does that mean that all the new societies that would then qualify to become a student media group, are they all going to be sharing the space that Gaudi currently has? Because it's not just Gaudi, ASR, and GCTV that would be eligible for funding if this even passed student council. It's more than that, and it also means that a lot of the money that would be spent elsewhere on student activities will be solely focused on this specific group, or potentially 4 specific groups. That also being said, if it does pass trustee board, which currently it cannot do because it dictates how AUSA spends its budget and its staff. And when I say staff, I'm talking about permanent employees of AUSA, not sabbatical officers.
Okay, just to clarify for someone that's just messaged, can if the motion passes, if the bylaw amendment, sorry, passes council today, can the trustee board then amend it? If someone can answer that. As in, it passes as it is today, and then it's amended at the trustee board stage.
Trustee board can ask for clarification for amendments, but they will not make those amendments. The proposer will have to do it, and then it will have to go through council again.
Right. Okay. Anyone want to speak for the motion again? One last person speak for the motion. There's a number of seconders on the motion that haven't spoken. Anthony, there we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So just to reiterate a couple of the points, it's not really about telling anyone what to do. It's a fairly common sense motion, bringing the media groups together, simplifying the system, and in the event that there will be funding, then there is a possibility to apply for it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. And then we need one last person to speak against the motion, and then we've satisfied the bylaw amendment from last council for 4 rounds each. Tarkin, are you speaking against the motion?
I am, yes. Can you hear me this time, or is my mic?
Yeah, hear you this time. Brilliant, thank you.
Awesome. One of my main concerns with this whole kind of funding thing potentially for the current publications is that I am aware that there are many publications on campus right now that are currently trying to start up. Obviously, that is quite difficult to do in the midst of a pandemic, and as well with competition from other publications. I think considering that we are an organization built on equality and egalitarianism, that maybe we should direct this funding, if we can get this funding, towards startups, again, as I mentioned earlier, such as the legal perspective. I know there's another one called the Law Codex, and then even that one, that kind of tab-like one, Monolith Media. That might be better that we direct our funding to these new sort of publications that are trying to get involved on campus versus ones that are already established and known throughout the student body.
Okay, thank you, Tarkin. Okay, so we've had 4 rounds now, 4 for, 4 against, clear rounds, so we can't debate that. Not that we can't debate, I mean, we can't debate the fact that we've had 4 of each. So we can go, although Cecilia's just messaged in the chat. Is that a question for the proposer of the motion, or are you wanting to give another argument against? Because then we'd have to have another argument for. Cecilia? No.
I'm guessing it's an argument against.
Okay, so then we'd have to have another argument for, I think, going by that bylaw. Anyone want to come back on that comment that Cecilia's put in the chat? In case you can't see it, if it's not about getting funding right now, then there should not be an issue with withdrawing the motion, working with the VP for communities, I guess, and resubmitting a competent motion, as trustee board will not meet in between this next council.
I just like, sorry, Rosie, Gaudi representative, I just like specific reassurances that the SAVs will help us work on it, because I've emailed multiple times and I'm really, really frustrated with the fact that this isn't competent at this point. Like, we're gonna, yeah, I'm going to be incredibly frustrated if
No-
we don't
no-
get
no one wants to.
significant support on fixing this motion if I decide to withdraw it.
Okay, Radine.
Yeah, Verdine, I'm Vice President for Communities. Yeah, I'm gonna speak to you right after this meeting because yeah, I don't want there to be any more back and forth, and I can understand your frustration again.
Okay, in that case, we will agree to withdraw the motion. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I think that means then we move on to the next item on the agenda. If everyone's okay with that, we are running over now, so okay, right, let's just do it. Okay, so next one, now we can go through it. Got the Bylaw 17 amendment, and that's you again, Andre.
Yes, Andre, VP for Education. So this bylaw is also quite straightforward. So it's quite lengthy, but I have not changed much from what it used to be. So the only changes that I've made to the document is to reflect the current co-chairing of two people, which is me and Cecilia. So there's the language to reflect that change to be possible and to not leave any ambiguity with that. And the only real change that I'm looking for is to increase the number of students at the elections committee from 2 to 5, which would mean a more student engagement at the election committee level. There's no further changes than that. So if there's any questions, please ask them now. Otherwise, we could just go to the vote.
Okay, any questions for Andre? Okay, it looks like the voting system isn't going to work for a few minutes either, in another fun twist. So no questions for Andre. Oh, there is a question for Andre, unless that's Tarkin with his hand up from before still. Was that your hand up from before? Yeah. Okay, anyone want to speak against? Nope, no one speak against. Okay. We can go to a vote then, and I think that's the vote that Ellie's just posted on the chat. So you're voting for bylaw 17. Again, this bylaw needs 75% of those of us here to pass. Thank goodness for that. Perfect. Okay, just to clarify, Ellie, that is the link for the bylaw 17 amendment vote, isn't it? I presume so. Yeah, it is. Okay, perfect. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to vote there. Apologies again for the technical difficulties. Okay,
Taylor, if you put your email in the or email me or Elsa Reps, I'll send you over the link. And you should be able to get it that way. Sorry, that button there, Matthew. It's just a quick fix there I can think of because I think that her screen might be frozen.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so we've got the results for that vote. And anyone that, Okay, that's the results coming up. So again, we need 75% for this to pass on the Bylaw 17 amendment. So that's 37 votes for, 2 against, 9 abstentions. We just need to check that that passes, because obviously we need to check against A, the maths, and B, how many people have responded to it to check whether that passes or not. Okay, sorry, it's changing all the time. We just need to clarify. Scott, does that still pass, because that's just changed again? Yeah, okay, so that passes with 38 votes for, 2 against, and 10 abstentions. Okay, nominations for the election committee. I believe that's you again, Andre. Or Cecilia?
I think it was Cecilia, but I can give the
Well,
question, or if you want to, Cecilia, let me know. Okay, so we will need, now that the bylaw has passed, we'll need 4 additional members at the committee. So I think it would be best if you email the XRX email if you're interested in being on that committee. So I'm just looking for it, and I'll pop it into the chat. So this is the email. We're looking for 4 more members so that we can look at anything around elections, such as the rules and setting the dates and setting the referenda and everything like that. But I see that Cecilia had her hand up, so she probably wants to add something.
Yeah, Cecilia?
No, that was perfect. You mentioned at the end it's that the elections committee oversees the rules and the proceedings of the election, so it's very important to have like diverse representation on it. At the moment, we only got 1 student, so it's fabulous as we're preparing for the NUS referendum and other elections next term.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this matter? No. Okay, and there's nothing further. There's nothing further to do with on that subject, I don't think. Okay. Okay. Any other council business now? Again, the quality enhancement theme, the resilient learning communities.
So that's me again, Andre, the Vice President for Education. So some of you might know that we're part of the Quality Assurance Agency Scotland's theme that runs over 3 years. So as was mentioned, is the resilient learning communities. It is starting this year and it will finish in 3 years. So we're looking for student committee members for it. So it's largely staff members from the university who are part of the committee, and I am the lead on it from the student perspective, and Steve Tucker is the staff lead on it. So we'll be looking for 1 member of the undergraduate students, 1 postgraduate taught, and 1 postgraduate research student to join us. So if you would be interested, then please send me an email and I'll send you the way of how you can apply for it. The person will be chosen by Steve, so I don't really have that much say on who would be joining us as a team. So some of the areas that we will be looking to improve as a university will be the student social presence and blended learning, and how we can create a more effective community of inquiry. Then we will be looking on how we can learn and teach better during the pandemic. We'll be taking some initiative to decolonize the curriculum. We'll be looking at skills and work-based learning activities, some transitional learning support, as well as delivering effective orientation at distance. So if this kind of work is something that interests you, then let us know. Part of that, you would have the opportunity to attend QAA meetings or like conferences, which happen roughly once each semester. So it is a good way to get a new set of skills. So if you're interested, just let me know. I'll pop my email into the chat and I'll be happy to discuss it further if you're interested.
Brilliant. Thank you. Any questions on that from anyone? No. Okay. And then item 13B, Academic Symposium.
So that is me again, Andre, the Vice President for Education. So we're doing an annual academic symposium, and I'll be looking for 6 student members to join panels. So I'll post the panel names into the chat. So the panels will be composed by an academic dean, plus 2 staff members, I believe, and 1 student, and they will explore some areas and topics that are currently very important to hopefully the students and the staff. So the topics are social presence and blended learning. The second topic is building resilient learning communities. Third one is enhancing academic integrity through smart design. Fourth one will be supporting mental well-being and staff and students. Fifth one is learning together, supporting an inclusive, accessible, and diverse learning culture. And the last one is solving our future skill challenges, effective partnerships between the university and employers. So they have slightly different areas. So 3 of them are more education-based, 2 of them are more support-based, and 1 of them is more employability and entrepreneurship based. So I'll pop them all into the chat, but I think we might need to redistribute them to all of the members, as a lot of people are now gone, if that's good with you, Matthew.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. And yeah, just a reminder as well that putting GIFs in the chat is difficult for the minutes because you can't put a GIF in the minutes, essentially, and loads of other reasons as well. But yeah, so if we could just refrain from doing that, that'd be great. Thanks. If you're happy with that, then Andre, we can move on to the ALSA Student Experience Committee report. That's just for information.
That's just for information. If anyone's got questions, that's great, but it's not.
Any questions on that from anyone? No. Okay, and then the final item on the agenda is a discussion regarding Bylaw 3. Does anyone have any questions about Bylaw 3?
If I could comment, so the bylaws were not distributed, so I don't think we have much to discuss at this moment. So we'll need to bring it back to the next meeting. So, but if somebody wants to discuss it, they can reach out to either me or Cecilia afterwards.
Okay, Cecilia, do you want to comment on that as well? No. Perfect. Okay. Unless anyone has any other business that they wish to raise at this point, be heard now. No. Okay then. I think that's everything. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so check out the chat for this session as well, because lots of people put their emails in there as well. And you can contact me at sa.chair@abdn.ac.uk if you've got any questions, queries, or feedback about this session. I know there's been lots of technical problems, and of course it is my first time chairing council as well in this bizarre situation. So please forgive me for overrunning and the sort of stop-startedness, but hopefully we should iron out those issues in time for the December Council. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and have a good evening. Thank you.